Aquarius. This week destabilizes something emotionally stagnant. And despite the discomfort, that disruption may become your breakthrough. Mercury enters fellow air sign Gemini and immediately collides with Uranus, your ruling planet, activating creativity, romance, emotional expression, identity, passion, and self-perception. Inspiration strikes suddenly. Conversations shift unexpectedly. Someone surprises you emotionally. Or you realize you've been emotionally disconnected from what once made you feel alive. That realization hits hard, because underneath your independence, there's been emotional restlessness building for a while now, and this week finally exposes it. Mars entering Taurus also activates your home, emotional foundations, family dynamics, and nervous system. You may feel emotionally protective this week, more territorial with your energy, more aware of where your environment either supports or drains you. And honestly, your nervous system is becoming less willing to tolerate emotional instability disguised as excitement. That matters, especially because Venus enters Cancer and shifts attention toward health, habits, emotional labor, and daily emotional maintenance. Suddenly, the small things matter deeply: sleep, nutrition, emotional pacing, consistency. You may realize your emotional exhaustion isn't coming from one dramatic event. It's accumulating through constant, subtle depletion. Around May 19th, Mercury trines Pluto, while Venus harmonizes with Mars, creating a powerful emotional opening. A truth surfaces gently but clearly. Someone may finally reveal vulnerability beneath their usual defenses. Or you may realize you've been emotionally detached not because you don't care, but because caring deeply has started feeling risky again. That's the real issue underneath the surface this week. Fear of emotional dependence. And somewhere around the middle of the week, there's a moment where you recognize that emotional freedom and emotional avoidance are not the same thing. You may suddenly understand how often you keep yourself moving mentally to avoid sitting fully inside your own feelings. That awareness changes your choices. The Sun enters Gemini later in the week and immediately conjuncts Uranus, bringing sudden developments into your emotional foundations, living situation, family dynamics, or private emotional life. A realization arrives quickly, a plan changes, or you suddenly feel called toward a different version of emotional stability than the one you originally imagined. Do not dismiss the urge to simplify your life emotionally. Your spirit is asking for clarity now. Venus square Neptune later in the week creates confusion around self-worth, emotional validation, or financial expectations. Be careful not to overgive emotionally, simply to preserve connection. Some people appreciate your energy without understanding its cost. And Aquarius, here's the truth you need this week. You do not lose yourself by allowing genuine emotional closeness. You lose yourself by remaining emotionally unavailable to your own needs for too long. By the weekend, your emotional world feels more honest, less abstract, less detached. You begin recognizing what truly nourishes you instead of merely stimulating your mind. And once you recognize that difference, you won't be able to go back to emotional half-presence again.
Aquarius. Your tarot card is the Two of Pentacles. This week requires emotional balance under shifting conditions. The Two of Pentacles appears when multiple priorities compete for your energy simultaneously. You may feel emotionally stretched between responsibilities, relationships, decisions, or conflicting futures. But the deeper issue is not workload alone. It's emotional pacing. You cannot endlessly adapt without eventually exhausting your nervous system. This card also warns against minimizing your own emotional needs simply because you are capable of handling pressure well externally. Someone around you may assume you're fine because you appear calm. Communicate honestly, especially if you need support. Financially and professionally, flexibility helps you more than rigidity this week. Small adjustments now prevent larger instability later. And emotionally, the Two of Pentacles asks a powerful question. What would your life feel like if balance became a priority instead of something you only pursued after burnout?
Aquarius. You get hexagram 4. Mountain over water. Youthful folly. This hexagram speaks about learning through uncertainty. Youthful folly appears when the mind does not yet fully understand what the spirit is trying to teach. You may feel emotionally confused this week, not because you are failing, but because growth often begins before complete clarity arrives. There's also a warning here against intellectual arrogance, not necessarily outwardly, internally. The belief that you must fully understand emotions before allowing yourself to experience them honestly. But emotions are not engineering problems, they are lived experiences. And this week asks you to become more emotionally teachable, especially regarding vulnerability, closeness, and emotional pacing. The deeper wisdom of this hexagram is simple. You do not need complete certainty before allowing genuine emotional connection to matter.
Aquarius, your rune is Kanaz. Kanaz is the rune of illumination, insight, creativity, awakening, and the controlled flame that reveals hidden understanding. Something clicks into place mentally and emotionally this week. An idea, a realization, a truth about your relationships or emotional patterns. Kanaz brings understanding through awareness rather than force. You suddenly see what was previously blurred. There's also strong creative energy here. Inspiration may arrive unexpectedly. A new direction becomes visible, or emotional clarity helps restore motivation that has felt fragmented recently. But emotionally, Kanaz also asks you to stop hiding parts of yourself to preserve emotional distance. Light reveals. That is its nature. And this rune suggests that vulnerability may actually become the doorway toward the deeper connection you've been quietly wanting. The more honestly you allow yourself to be seen, the less emotionally isolated you become. This week brought movement through awareness. Not every answer arrived immediately, but clarity emerged through observation, patience, and emotional honesty. Sometimes, the most important shifts begin quietly, long before the outer world fully reflects them. If this reading connected with you, leave a comment sharing what part of your life feels ready for change now. Small realizations often become the beginning of major future turning points. And remember to watch your rising sign horoscope as well. Your rising sign frequently reveals the structural direction your life is moving toward beneath the emotional surface. Move carefully this week, but do not fear evolution.